All right.
All right, we're here.
Recording. We're here.
Yeah.
It
All right, how's it going, Annie Leeth?
is going. Hello, Nordista
It
Freeze.
is great to see you. Okay, last time I saw you was outside of like what is it called, 529?
Yeah, yeah, randomly. I forgot about that. That's so funny. It was like January and you were barefoot out of 529, like hanging out.
I remember my feet being really cold,
That
and
was
I was talking to
probably.
you. Do you live in Atlanta now?
Yeah, I work at a studio in Southeast Atlanta right
Is
now.
that the studio on your Instagram bio?
It
Don't tell
is
me.
that one. Yeah.
Uh, I was gonna ask you what that was. Okay, cool. Let's see. Maze
hmm
Studios ATL.
Yeah.
Maze is a recording studio home to Ben H. Allen the third.
The third.
And you're just like working there and like engineering and stuff.
Yeah, I'm his assistant engineer. So
Cool.
whenever he's there, I'm there pretty much.
Wow. Okay, cool. Well, that's exciting. When I met you, for those who don't know,
The viewers.
it was at the Georgia Theater. You ran sound once upstairs and then once downstairs, and
Indeed.
they love you there. The person who was working was like, he's like, Annie is just the best I've ever seen. He's like, she's amazing.
I miss them so much. They're like my favorite group of people. And that was one of my favorite shows too. I was like, normally by that time of the night at the rooftop, I would be like so tired and like ready to go home and like pack up and stuff. But you were like running all over the place and it was just like, I don't know, it made my night. It was great.
That's
Um,
the best venue ever. I'd say. Genuinely, if people ask me, I say it's the Georgia Theater. It's the best.
I love it. Yeah, it's super homey. I mean, like you can, I mean, that's Athens, but like yeah, I agree.
Yeah, right. You are, before we get too deep, about to put out a new song on the 18th.
Indeed.
What is it
Yeah.
called?
It's called Tired Eyes, and it is just about the climate. It's about
Mm,
watching the news a lot and having issues with it, basically. So,
yeah, right.
yeah.
Tired eyes. That's cool. I feel like I have tired eyes for sure.
Most
Believe me.
people do at this point, I think.
Yeah. This will be your first song to put out in 2020. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah.
You've put out three, like, I guess, collections of music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether you'd call them an EP, maybe an album, whatever. But you had Heard, which was like early 2018,
hmm
and then what was the other? Recurrence,
Yeah,
and then the one that I have heard the most from, which is Mortal, which came out in 2019,
indeed.
um, featuring Sherbert. Is that how you say that word? Sherbert Sky.
Yeah, I never know if it's sherbet or sherbet, and every time I play it live, I overthink right before I say it.
I didn't know that you did music. When I met you, I remember you or someone telling me that you were like a classical like violinist, I believe,
hmm
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I knew originally, and then I guess somehow I found your music and just love it. I think you're so amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it was never like planned to ever put out like music on Spotify or anything. It was like this random thing, like, or like a mixture of things where um, a friend of mine was playing like experimental shows at Go Bar, RIP. It's far closed now at this point, but it was
Oh,
like before COVID, but it's like a restaurant now or something. But and it was she was like doing an experimental show and she was like, hey, do you want to, I know you like do looping violin sometime, do you want to come down? So it was that, and that was a lot of fun. I was like, I'm going to keep doing that. And then through the music business program, David had this one project that was like, you can do anything like in the music business. Like you can do like publicity for an album or you can like put out an album and all this stuff. And that's what made my first EP. was literally an M-Bus project.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Like something y'all were doing in class?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I don't know, but it was fun, so I kept doing it.
That's interesting. So, wow, yeah. I did was part of that just like working at a venue, being like, wait, I could do this. Like you see bands every night. I feel like that has to make you be like, yo, I could step into this.
I don't know. I mean, I always liked being on stage with like doing session violin and like playing violin with bands and stuff. And it's like, I mean, obviously it's like so much more nerve-wracking for it to like be your own stuff as opposed to like a one-off freelance thing. And um
Right.
but no, it's so much fun. Like it's crazy to even like think of like a live show now. It's been so long, but like yeah, I don't know. I remember it being fun.
Yeah, it seems like it was something I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
I can't, man, yeah, it's been a total 180 for me. I mean, I
Yeah.
only tour. That's like what I do. That's like the thing.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you were touring like constantly, right? I remember always like seeing stuff.
I play about 130, 100 to 150 shows a year.
That is so
So,
crazy.
and now it looks like it's going to be over a year of no touring. You know, now it's like I just talked to my friend who helps me book, and
Yeah.
he said we for sure won't play before March. You know, like no one really knows, but it's just
Yeah.
crazy because March was when it hit. So it's like I can't believe I'm going to go a year without it. Is
Yeah.
really hard for me. But
That's a
you don't even work at a venue anymore. So you like your reality was changing right when this went down, I feel like.
yeah. Yeah, it was definitely like I moved here in late January. I was working here actually. I started about a year ago, and I was commuting from Athens for like about 5 months, and then I moved here in late January, and then March. So like I haven't really been to many venues here or anything, but
Right.
um, I don't know. It's made it so that like whenever stuff opens back up, like I'll know like where to go, and like I've mapped it out at this point. Now I just have to like visit.
Yeah, right. That's it. Are you from where are you from originally?
I'm from Richmond, Virginia. That's where I
Oh,
grew
so
up.
you were in Athens for school.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. And now you're
Hmm.
done with that and you're in Atlanta.
Yeah, and I mean, I was planning on staying in Athens if like this job was like a totally random thing like that I got a call about interviewing, and I was planning on staying in Athens for like at least 5 more years, like whenever.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, that's like my forever home. I love that place.
No way, Athens. Why is that?
Yeah, just because I don't know, it was like everyone is very supportive and creative there, and it's small enough where like you kind of know who everyone's band is and like where they play, and
Yeah.
um yeah, it's kind of uh it's easy to like get to know the history quickly and like get really good at the history of it. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
right. The music scene is really like particularly interesting to me because I felt like I've just like it's kind of just been this fluid like thing where sometimes I'll play a show and it'll seem like it's a lot of like UGA kids,
yeah,
and then sometimes it's like this really like art school like community, like this like really just like DIY gritty like thing, and like these different circles in it. But sometimes on the bill it'll be both. Like there'll just be like a culmination of like different crowds that in some ways seem different, but in other ways seem totally just like happy to be interspersed. Whereas it's,
definitely.
I think in other cities it's like more clicky, like than I've found in Athens. I don't know. Maybe would you
Yeah,
agree with
no,
that
I
or disagree
agree.
with that?
I haven't, I mean, that's the one thing that I'm like really excited about finding out in Atlanta when like stuff opens back up is like I don't know, like figuring out how it's clicky like in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that also it's impossible for like a music scene to not have people that fall into groups
Right.
and stuff, but I think it was definitely a lot more diverse as well as far as like genres go, like the groups that end up together there.
Yeah, totally. There's a lot of different people doing different stuff in Athens, but it's all and really, I mean, it all falls into that like square. Like I'm always back in like the same a really similar part of town with like similar group of people. I know there are probably other maybe venues otherwhere, but that's just like I don't know. I just have always found it very interesting. Athens is one of my favorite places to play because I just feel like people are really supportive and just kind of down for whatever. Like
Totally.
just like come together and have a good time. Maybe
Yeah,
that's like a
I
college
totally
town
agree.
thing. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely like, and I think like going back to music business, it's definitely a big part of it. Is like you have all of these like juniors and seniors in school there that are interested in getting into it, and they have like this music town like around them, and those are normally the ones that I feel like end up playing at venues and being part of like these like UGA slash art artsy, like experimental setups,
Yeah,
but
right. How did you get involved with the Georgia Theater?
um it was kind of lucky because I reached out to Calm like a couple of years ago, like going into my last year at school, and asking if I could intern. And right when I got there, they had just gotten this like brand new like board set up. Like
Whoa.
both of like they had been analog previously, and they had these are like Midas boards that I love them now. And but everyone was learning like at the same time, and so I got to come in, and I like watched a bunch of tutorials before, and I was like, okay, I get how this works, and got to kind of jump on it like while everyone was still trying to figure out how to use it that was on staff. And I think that helped a lot with like my chances of actually like getting a job there basically.
Yeah.
But
Why is that place so so special? Can do you have any insight? Like I just why do I feel like I'm at home when I'm there more so than other venues and like I just can't I don't never know how to explain to people, but it just feels like the staff just really like care about each other and just seem like really genuinely like care about the music too. I don't know. I can't figure it
totally,
out.
it's like I think that it's small enough. It's like the perfect size. I feel like where you're always like meeting new people that have just come in, whether it's like interns or like someone that just came into town. Um, but like you're also surrounded by like I don't know. I remember Courtney would like the LD at theater. She would come down and just like bring candy with her from upstairs. It's like I don't know. It's little stuff like that I just remember. They like the production office in like the last couple of months that I was working there like got completely redone so that if there was ever like um, a guest sound guy and like there were people that were just setting up and waiting for the show to end basically, they would come downstairs and like hang out in this like super cozy like decked out production office. And I don't know, it's like people like
Wow.
enjoy just hanging out there, I think, kind of,
Yeah, right.
and shit.
The green room is like
Oh yeah.
upstairs and it's like in the office where everyone's working. And I like so even when I'm
Yeah.
like playing a show, which first off, the first time I played, I don't know if you know this, the first time I played the theater was like happened on the fly. We
Oh
were playing
really?
yes, so we were supposed to play a house party and the cops shut it down. They found out that it was going to happen and they showed up to it was Kyler Volmar, if you know who that is. They showed up to Kai's house at like 4 p.m. and they were just like, "Hey, we heard this is gonna happen and it can't." And so Elijah Johnson and I'm trying to think who else was supposed to play. Maybe like Shane T. And then Tommy Trotwine. Anyway,
Yeah.
they got in touch with Drew, and Drew was just like, "We'll do it at the rooftop." So just like it was
Of
like
course. Mr.
it went from like DM for the address to like we're playing at the Georgia Theater, which I had wanted to do for like years and never got an email back, which I don't take personally. You know, that's when you're a DIY band,
Right.
you just start emailing all the time. So I'm always just like, man, I want to play this so bad. I don't know how to get their attention, and it
Totally.
just fell into my lap, and I was able to play. And Drew ran sound because I guess he didn't like have anyone hired, you know,
Oh my
to put on a song that
god.
night. And
That's
it was just, yeah, it was awesome. And like afterwards, he was just like, he paid us all and gave us all free food and was just like, hey, come back sometime. And that began like my
awesome.
relationship with the venue. And like I've been able to, and then biggest venue I've ever played is downstairs on my birthday last year, which is coming up in on Saturday.
Hey,
So
wait, no way.
yeah, so it's almost a
Bragger.
year now since I played that theater, like the actual
Cool.
theater for my birthday, which I still don't understand how I was able to do that. But Drew literally was just like,
Oh,
"Let's
you
make
got
it happen."
caked. You
Yeah, I
got
got
caked. I
caked
forgot about that.
by Drew and I think is her name
Dingus.
yeah, Dingus. Yeah, Emily or yeah. Yeah, so
I
that I mean
forgot
that just
about
it was just such an amazing night. And like that just everything about that night was so special and I've never had an experience like that. And it all just came from like Drew and then like Drew introducing me to people like you and just like the staff there just really actually genuinely having a good time, like being so supportive. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's just really special, you know?
it is a very cool place. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
I'm
sweet
glad.
spot.
I'm glad that you were able to be a part of that family for a little while. Were you
Yeah.
planning on staying there longer before this
Yes.
opportunity came up, like at the
Hmm.
theater specifically?
Yeah, yeah. I was kind of like there indefinitely, basically. Like I wasn't really sure what, because I had just graduated, like May of 2019, and um, I mean, I was like, I wasn't only, I was working there, and I was working at Flickr, and like sometimes at Little Kings, and then like at like Chase Park and a couple of like out of town live venues. So I was
Whoa,
like, I was full out freelance, basically, like somewhere different every day
for live sound.
for mixture live sound and studio, just depending on like what people wanted, and then like also like session violin stuff. So it was like I was running around like all the time, but like I was like very much my own boss, um and I was like going to keep it that way. And I mean, I'm going to go back to that eventually, but there were definitely some technical things that I was overlooking before getting this job, where like, because this is like a studio manager and assistant engineer thing, like if something's broken, like I have to fix it, basically.
Whoa, yeah.
So instead of just not use
Wow.
it.
Yeah, totally. How did you find this studio? What like what what happened to convince you to
Ben,
come over there?
it was like, so David, who was, he's the head of the MBUS program, but also like was my boss over at Chase Park. Um, he worked on a deer hunter record with Ben, like probably like 10 years ago or something. And
That's
so
awesome.
they, yeah, totally. And that was at Chase Park. And so they knew each other through there. And like also both of them had grown up at Athens and stuff. So, um, and he was looking for a new assistant engineer because Ben Etter, who was the guy that had my job before, had just gotten freelance after a few years in that job. And yeah, so it just kind of like randomly fell together. It cut my Athens time short a little bit, but I'm sure I'll be back eventually. It's not like
Yeah.
it's going anywhere.
Yeah. That's interesting. So if you're just there and like working with different artists all the time, just recording. Did you wind up working with Ron Gallo, I thought I saw?
Yeah, it was a little different than expected because like obviously COVID and stuff, but he
Yeah.
was gonna originally come and do like some additional production with us and stuff, but we ended up mixing the record still, which was
Cool.
really cool because I loved all of the songs, and like it made me like it made me like what, like the full experience basically, because they both seem really cool like to
Yeah,
be around.
totally. That night that I saw you, Ron Gallo was at that show
Yeah.
and I was like just shocked because that guy is just like the best. He's just like a indie star and just a rock star. And like, what are you doing here? And you say you're coming to check out a studio, and then that was the studio that. And then I walked outside and met you, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm working at the studio now." Like, what on
That's
earth?
the one.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's cool. Yeah, I'm sure things have been a lot different with um, COVID, but
Hmm.
I'm glad that you're still able to like have that opportunity. Whereas if you had still been doing a lot of live sound, like,
Nothing.
yeah, that would have just like, you would be doing nothing, or you know,
Yeah.
it would have been a lot different of a transition into quarantine and everything.
Yeah, that's like the, I don't know, that's the craziest thing about all of it to me is that obviously it's been different than I expected, but like that, yeah, all of, you're right, all of the live sound would have been gone.
Yeah,
Yes.
for real. Is your song that you're about to put out, did you record it at the studio you're working at?
A little bit of both. So like I kind of have this uh this thing set up where I'll uh do all like the MIDI arrangement stuff at my place, and we have a lot of the synths at Maze are set up so that they can take MIDI, and then you can just like mess with the tones and stuff. And um, so that's kind of how this one worked, was that I had a lot of like the basics down, and then I went in there and mixed it.
Yeah,
But
that's cool. And did you say that we talked about this right before we got started, but you said that you're maybe working on a bigger project that this song could potentially be a part of, or
yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it'll definitely be something in the future, but I'm not exactly sure when. I want it to be a full album, but I've also like been very bad about like publicity and trying to like find a way to like gain followers and be like consistent with things. And
dude, what? Yeah, this stuff's crazy confusing.
yeah, no, exactly. It's like I'm so bad at sending press kits. I'm so bad at sending emails to like album review sites and radio stations and stuff. And I don't even know if that's like the way that you do it. And so I don't know. Part of me is like, I need to have like a better handle on that side of things before I like put out any other like big things, you know?
Yeah,
But,
right. Well, if you just do this one as a single, that would be your first time putting out just like a standalone, because
mhm.
everything that you've put out before this has been like collections of, I think, like 6 to 8 songs, or maybe they're all. Let's see, Herd is 8 tracks, right? No,
Yeah,
it's 6.
6.
And then the other 2 are 8.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting way to release music. I don't know.
It's not, it's an unexperienced way to release music.
What do you mean? There's just like no reason to it?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, I don't know, I'm definitely like learning as I go along. And like in the music too, like in the production side of things, like as much as I loved the ambient sound and stuff that I was doing early on,
Yeah,
like
it's so cool. I love it.
it's also like I felt like it was kind of out of necessity. It was like the learning process was in it. Like
Yeah.
there's so much stuff I would change about
Hmm.
all of them, but I also just kind of, you know, you want to leave it eventually, just like have it be there in that part of space.
Yeah. Do you ever think about taking it down, or if you're like frustrated with it, or you're ever just like, man, I should rebrand and just like be like, here's my first single, you know, or I don't know, leave Mortal, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think about that kind of stuff all the time. Is why
I
I
do
ask.
too. Yeah, totally. If I did that, it would be, I don't know, because if I did that, I always think that it would be under a different name or something.
Hmm.
But and then I would leave the like namesake project like to be itself over there. But like
Yeah.
uh, but it's also like I have so much trouble coming up with a name that would, you know, like be a stage name or something. It's like getting a tattoo, and I'm also bad at getting tattoos. So
Yeah. Right. I don't know. I mean, Annie Leeth is like a pretty sick name. So.
thank you. No one can spell it right whenever I say
Oh
it.
yeah, I guess that would be pretty frustrating. But I don't know. Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. Yeah, right. So when you say that you were creating out of necessity, just like trying, you mean just like trying to learn like a software specifically, because you already are trained and like very talented instrumentalist at it. Like, so yeah, is it just like more of learning how to wait, but you also like work in a studio. So what necessity, what do you not have an
Well,
abundance of? I feel like you're
but it was
master.
like Well, thank you. I didn't know, but thank you. um, I think it was a lot of, I mean, because I've really only worked like in production for a few years
Mm,
now, and so like I don't know, in the big scheme of like the production world, and also like I've played violin since I was like 6, so like that was already set, like that's fine. And then it was kind of like trying to build up the like production side of it to kind of meet that.
yeah.
Because I mean, Heard was like I think the first time I had ever even mixed something before. So it was very like I wasn't really sure how to quantize things. Like
Yeah.
everything was like analog because I didn't know how to like really make MIDI instruments and like make them sound good. So
Totally. I'm the same
yeah,
way. I don't, when I open up like Logic, it's still a new world to me. Everything that I create is collaborative and it's like mixed by a friend. You know, it's like a collaborative effort, you know what I mean?
totally. Well, I
But it
mean
sounds like
that's also a great way to do it.
yeah, well, yeah, either way. I think during COVID I'm starting to like try to just experiment more on my own, but
Cool.
what inspired you to like want to take on so much of the process yourself, especially being in Athens and having so many connections you could pretty quickly like allocate and just like collaborate in every
Yeah.
capacity, you know?
It was kind of a time management thing because like I was in school and like also had to like do like chamber rehearsals and like orchestra rehearsals and all this stuff. And um it was kind of like I had so much trouble syncing up my schedule with other people, but I knew I still wanted to like make music, and I still wanted to practice what I was doing, but I didn't necessarily want to be like, okay, we're gonna do this and like send out a group message and
Yeah.
wait 2 days before we hear a response from the group message. And yeah, I think it was just like I wanted to like do stuff on the fly basically and not have to worry about other people.
So your artistry was in like the spaces when you weren't doing other things that were like on a schedule. So it was
Yeah,
like to do it with too many people would just make it another like thing in your
right.
life that you had to go do, and that makes sense. Do when you are working on like, I guess just in the day to day, like in present day, how often do you think about your artistry? Like is it something that you feel like defines you, or is it something that you really are like trying to pursue, or do you feel like it's more of a hobby or something that you do on the
um
side? You know what I mean?
well, it depends on the day, I think, because like, and it also depends on what I've watched during the day, because like for instance, like with Kishibashi K, who's like my like one of
Yeah.
the people
Yeah.
that I aspire to become, like
Hmm.
um it's like if I ever see like back when he was like on tour and stuff, I like whenever I saw those like Instagram posts of like wherever he was in the world and stuff, that was like I was like, no, I like need to do that. Like
Oh
that
yeah.
looks so fun, and like look at all those people around him, and like look at what he's doing and the following he has. And um so that's always like the most like guttural reaction, I think. But it's so easy to like forget that quickly, and then like go back into like your day-to-day thing, and like having to like make rent and like
Yeah.
like keep up your life and and what you're doing. And I don't know, I mean, I would like to like go on a tour or something at some point. It's not,
As an artist,
yeah, totally. um
cool.
but it's not like I don't know. It's been difficult for me to, and I do need to actually, I need to talk to Kay sometime and be like, how did you do this? How did you get to where you are? Because like I know there's a way. It's just I don't know enough
Yeah.
about it to like, because there's got to be. I know everyone says that it's luck and stuff, but like I have this idea in my mind that like you can totally like find an equation to it if you like
Yeah.
learn enough.
Yeah. I think luck might be like a special sauce, but there's definitely like a lot of other ingredients going into the mix when it comes to success, including just like working really hard, and
Right.
I don't know, and even just like who you know obviously seems to be a bigger factor than I thought it was as I continue on this journey and see how often that like meeting the right person helps me get an
Right.
opportunity or not. Like even just like someone like Drew, who's been like Drew Beskin has been so helpful to my life, you know,
Yeah.
like
I
one
mean,
of the
me
most
too.
helpful
Yeah.
people I've ever met. Like when I put out Wisteria, he was just like, do you want help with press? And I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't even know how to do that. Like,
That's
there
so
is not
cool.
going to be, there's not going to be press. And then he was just like, got a write up, and I was just so amazed by that. I was like, I don't even know how you just did that. And then watching him manage Wonder Wild,
Hmm.
because I believe he manages them. And
Yeah.
so I did it like a week or like a run, um, again about a year ago with Wonder Wild, and just seeing how he operated and he
Okay.
helped book that tour. You know, since we were playing the same shows, I, being my booking agent, was communicating with him a lot, and just
Yeah.
it's just amazing, like his work ethic and also just like skill and understanding of the industry. Definitely made me think that there is a lot I have left to learn, and like a lot. I don't know. There
Yeah.
is like a path. It's not just totally crossing your fingers. Like
Totally.
he needs an
Yeah.
example of that. I feel like, you know, someone who's just like worked hard and kind of continues to figure stuff out as he goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, that's really cool. With your newest song that you're working on, or that's coming out on the 18th, you said that you also have a performance that's going to be happening on this coming Sunday, which would be, I guess, like the 13th, maybe. Is
Yes.
that what you said?
Yeah.
Um, which I'm not sure whether this will be out in time or not. But is that something you're doing in relation to this new song, or is it just an opportunity that came
It was
alongside it?
it was more an opportunity. It's one of my old friends from UGA who's one of the people who's put it together, and the fact that it's a fundraiser for it, it's like a mixture of like classical and non-classical for a fundraiser for people that can't normally like afford instruments or like pedals or gear or anything like that. So and especially like given the world right now, it just kind of it came about, and yeah, I'm always down to do anything
Yeah,
like that. So
yeah, that's cool. So you're just gonna be performing from your house, solo.
yeah, yeah, or I mean, depending on what the studio schedule is. Like the last couple of live streams I've done in the live room there, which has been fun. But
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. That would be really cool. I did That's an amazing opportunity. Are you gonna be performing new stuff that like people haven't heard yet?
yeah, yeah. I've been I got this like little drum machine that has kind of been helping me with converting like uh, album stuff to live stuff. So
Yeah,
it'll have a lot of that on there.
that's gonna be cool. Can people watch it? Like, let's if someone hears this and the date has passed, can they go back and watch it, or is it just gonna premiere and then be gone? Do you know?
That I'm not super sure of, but even if it is gone, there's another. I did a filming for like kind of a pre-recorded live stream thing with my friend Jeffrey. That'll probably come out in November sometime.
Cool. Y'all are just gonna put that out like on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, he's been doing a whole series about it. Actually, it's like this random historical building in Madison that he's just been like bringing a bunch of bands in to record, and the lighting's like kind of purpley, and so he has like a couple of his friends that do film and stuff, and yeah, I'm excited to see how it looks when it's all come
Yo,
together.
that's sick. That's super cool.
It'll be
Um,
fun.
yeah, that's awesome. Did Well, your room is purpley right now too.
It is purple,
That's your vibe.
yes. I do love purple.
I do too. You said that you started playing violin when you were 6, right?
Mhm.
And you grew up in Richmond. Um, when along the way, since you still and you're also involved or were involved in college in chamber, you said?
Yeah.
So what is your relationship when it comes to like classical and contemporary or commercial, whatever you want to call it, music? And now that you have this interest in creating and performing and, potentially touring, when it opens back up, like, have you always known that that was something that you were equally excited about? Are you equally excited about it? Or like, has one been more of a passion throughout your life and the other one an accessory?
um I think, well, I was a music composition major in school, so it was a lot of like uh more that was like part of why everything, like my first album was a lot more experimental too, was that like that was just kind of like the vibe in my composition studio too, and like who I learned from and stuff, and I love it. And it was just kind of like we had a big room that was like quad speakers, so like sometimes there will be concerts where it's just like there's music like swirling around and stuff. And
Wow, that's so
um
cool. What?
it's sick. You should, next time you're in Athens, you should visit the Black Box sometime, because it's like it's got some cool new music.
Yeah, okay, sick. I would love to.
Yes, but I don't know. I think that it's none of it really like I couldn't really rank it because it changes around so much. Like I remember that happening when I was like back when I was freelance, where like I would have like 3 days a week where I was live sound, and by the time I had a studio session or like a violin thing booked, I was like, oh, I'm glad I get to do this now, because like this kind of like different hat, different like brain parts and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that in an ideal situation I can kind of like float around between all of these different like production and performance aspects of the
Yeah.
world.
Do you feel like there is like a pretty clear distinction in your head when you're working, when you're performing and you're like studying and composing classical music versus like being a part of a scene and being a part of like live music in the studio?
Yeah, I think so, because it'll be like with classical, it's a lot more like you're learning what the tradition, or like the traditional way to play this piece is, or like kind of it's almost like you do this phrasing enough times that it becomes habit, as opposed to like just doing something instinctual and someone telling you like that's sick, like type of thing.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I think it's a lot easier for me to do non-classical, and I learned that when I started doing like session violin, because I was like, oh, like I'm not getting roasted right now, like I think this is cool.
Totally. Totally. When you were growing up in Richmond, was there a lot of opportunity or interest in like songwriting and creating in that sense?
I don't know, well, that's I wish that I had known more about um the music industry in Richmond before I left, because I mean there was one, I went to the National there a lot um when I was in high school, to like like see like Phoenix, and like you know like all the like
Oh,
2077 like indie bands and stuff. And
right.
um and outside of that though, like I mean obviously I was like 17, so I couldn't go to like bars
Yeah.
and check out like what the actual like Richmond venue life was like. But I went to like youth orchestra and stuff, so that was kind of what I knew of music in Richmond basically
Yeah.
before I left.
Does your family still live in Richmond? Do you ever get to go back and visit?
Yeah, I mean it's like a few times a year pretty
Yeah.
much, but unless there's like a wedding or something. But um yeah, yeah, it's not like as often as I would like to,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's always fun to go up
Well,
there.
Richmond specifically, I've always thought it's like got one of the coolest music scenes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, I guess you probably haven't gotten a chance to experience it
No.
much yet, but maybe when you tour, you'll be able to. But yeah, like I always have a great time in Virginia, and I think Richmond is like really, really hip city.
Yeah,
There's a lot of cool
totally.
art going on there that I always hear about and like hear about bands coming out of there. So
I'll have
I
to
think that's
get one.
interesting. Yeah, right. So when you decided to go to UGA, was that like that city on your mind for a particular reason?
Well, I'd heard about the music business program, and then also it was like with going into the music school and stuff, you like the biggest thing that they kind of pushed for us was to like try to go to the school where we got along with the private teacher for your instrument the most, because that's like
Hmm.
the person you'll see the most one-on-one basically,
Yeah.
especially for like the first 2 years. And Dr. Heald, Michael Heald, who is the one of the professors there, I had a couple of lessons with him, and they went really well. And I liked the vibe of his violin studio and stuff, so that was kind of what drove me there the most.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. I never really thought about it like that. I guess I did. I studied euphonium a little bit in
Wait,
college.
really? It's
And
so
my
funny.
my yeah, my private instructor was like, yeah, someone I was around all the time and had a good relationship with. That really is like a pretty fundamental part of it. That's so who was advising you like that? Was this the
We had a like a college advisor at my high school that um, it was weird because I mean the school I went to didn't really have like any. I mean there was like one kid the year after me that I think went to Belmont, but like for the most part like there weren't many music majors that came out of it. So it was kind of like they were like, what do we do with you?
Did you ever think about going to Belmont?
I did actually, yeah, but it was a little it was less expensive to go to UGA, so ended up getting
Yeah,
in
for
state. So
sure. Yeah, totally. Belmont's crazy.
it looks really nice, and the way that I went up to Nashville actually for one of those women's audio mission conferences, and
Yeah.
seeing like Ocean Way, and then like hearing that they get to like hang out in Ocean Way is like crazy to me.
Yeah, that is crazy. I had a friend. I didn't go to Belmont, but I had like been involved in some like projects, for friends. Like
Yeah,
got like recorded where Bob Dylan, like stood where Bob Dylan stood and played a guitar.
yeah.
It's just like pretty special thing. But I don't know. Yeah,
Totally.
that's a big part of Nashville's culture. That would be really interesting if you had ended up here. I wonder what you would have thought in comparison. Have you ever spent
Yeah,
much time here
no,
in Nashville?
not really. I've visited twice. One was for that conference, and I was basically like in classes like the whole time. Like I didn't actually really see the city. And then the other time was like I went up for one night to see like Tom Petty, like freshman year.
Yo, what?
Yeah, it was like I think it was like his last tour or something,
Oh
but
my
yeah,
gosh.
it was super random. Like I went with like my mom and a couple of our family friends, and like that was the only time we only saw like that main strip of Nashville. So I've never actually like hung
Broadway.
out in Nashville. Yeah,
I guess you're at the Predators like stadium. You're at
yeah,
the big one downtown.
yeah.
That's funny. That's cool. Wow. I can't believe that. I can't believe you got to see Tom Petty. Were you raised on a lot of like commercial music, like studying violin? I don't know. Like, did you listen to a lot of classical music? How does that work?
Not really. I mean, like I did. I the only classical music I really listened to was stuff that like I was studying, but I don't know. Like my dad really liked like Jack Johnson. My mom liked Green Day, so it's
What?
kind of that's about
Whoa.
it.
Wow. I was not expecting you to say both of those bands.
There's the first full album that I knew the lyrics to was American Idiot, and my mom would turn down all the F words.
Wow, that's great. So how did you maintain like so much interest and like sustain your like rigid amount of practice in an instrument? Like I just don't know very many people who've like studied classical music like that. And I don't know how you would maintain a love for it,
You don't.
especially if you're like not super stoked on like listening to it. Like I listen to music, then I want to recreate it. To me, it's like
Um,
a process
yeah,
like that. You know?
I don't know. I think, well, as much as I don't listen to it very often, like I love playing it. And I especially love sight reading it. Like I was never like very good at like being like very practicey when I was like especially like younger, but I loved like sight reading. I loved like sight reading in orchestra and
Yeah.
just yeah, it was never like I kind of had a short attention span when it came to like perfecting stuff, but yeah, actually, and even now too, like as part of that concert series that my friend was filming, like me and a couple of my friends from school put together a uh, piano quartet thing, and it was like the first string quartet I had played in since like graduation, and it was so much fun. I
Oh
just hadn't
yeah.
like, and I never really listened to the piece or anything. I just really liked playing
Yeah. Right.
it.
It's like an exercise to you.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like a brain massage.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I remember how to
Wow.
read music.
Right. I guess there's not as many opportunities. Once you're outside of like college, you have to kind of work pretty hard, like find those, I guess maybe like community or auditioning for like maybe more
Definitely, yeah. And I'll
established.
still like pretty much every weekday when I'm in the studio, whether it's like because I'm always like the first one there, pretty much, even if we're in a session, all my violin's there, and I kind of just like read some stuff just so that I don't like lose it, you know.
Yeah, just do like exercises and
Hmm.
kind of just try to stay fluent in the language. Is that your
Totally.
dog barking?
That's Cooper. We are watching our friend's dog right now. He's really sweet, but he has a very large, loud bark.
What part of Atlanta do you live in?
I live in Southeast Atlanta, actually, like less than a mile from 529 and all of that.
Oh,
Um,
that's pretty hip.
I love
Whoa.
it. Yeah, it's great. And like my where I work is like less than a mile away. So it's kind of like I've been able to stay in this little bubble and kind of
Yeah.
avoid the highway for the most part.
Dude, the highway is is like the craziest part about it to me. Like every time I'm down there, I just am shocked at just how massive and confusing and if you're at the wrong time, congested and just that it can be. Or is have you been enjoying Atlanta? Aside from like studio, like beyond the studio, and I also know like with COVID, I'm sure it's a different relationship. But like, how are you feeling about being in
Yeah,
Atlanta?
it's been great. I'm excited to like know more about it, I guess. But like it's um I've gotten to know like my roommates, friends, and obviously my roommates a lot through all of this, and so that's been
Yeah,
really
right.
fun. It's honestly like the first time I have had like a consistent like social life in a long time. Like I feel like that, especially back in Athens, I was
Mm,
always like my social life was work. Like I would go meet. I mean, especially at the theater and stuff, it's already so social. Like that was how you made your friends and stuff. And I feel like I haven't had like a group of non-work friends in a very long time.
yeah, right. How'd you
So
meet these people that you're living with? Just
it was
random?
totally random. It was like they were looking
Wow.
for a roommate, and like one of the people who was working at the studio at the time just sent me a screenshot of their Facebook post and was like, "Hey, you should meet these people."
Wow, I'm so glad that worked out.
I know.
I would have been scared. I've never done something like
Yeah, me too. But they have, yeah, there's like always a bunch of animals here and stuff, and there's like a sugar glider and stuff, and
Yeah, right. Oh wow, a sugar glider and a
a
dog right
couple of
now.
dogs.
Um, that's cool. It sounds like a fun time. That's cool. You got to get so close with them, and especially during quarantine. Who you're
Yeah.
quarantining with is gonna be around a lot. I also want to ask you about Chase Park Transduction.
Yes, of
What is
course.
that? It's in your Instagram bio. Is that a band you're a part of?
That is the studio that I worked at in Athens.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Yeah, and that's where I'll still go back there mostly to do like session violin stuff, but my main mentors are there for the most part.
Really? That's
Yeah.
cool. Mentors, like they taught you what you know about production and like studio work.
Yeah, and like mainly, well, David, and then Drew Vandenberg, who like was worked on like the Faye Webster stuff and like Cicada Rhythm and K.
Oh,
And
so cool.
yeah, he's got like a really cool roster of stuff, and he was the one that I had interned there for a semester, and then I interned like just as his intern for another like 6 months after that, and he like gave me all these books to read, and
Yeah.
kind of like pushed me a little bit more into the world instead of like kind of letting me flounder
Yeah,
after the
right.
first internship.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, he's great. He's like one of my favorite people.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did y'all meet? Was it through the program or?
Yeah, because it's the way that
Dang, that's so sick.
yeah, it worked out really well because the way that he or the way that that studio organizes its internships is basically like you see the calendar and you just like text whoever the producer is and you're like, hey, can I come in? And if there's no other intern there, then it's normally yes. And I ended up like being the intern on like a lot of his stuff during like I think he was the one that I
Mm.
saw most of in those like first 6 months basically.
Yeah. Has there been anyone at either studio that like you specifically were just like, I know we talked about Ron Gallo, but like anyone you're like were just so stoked to like witness or be a part of the process with, someone that you just really admire?
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, it goes without saying, but like I did actually get to engineer for some of Omayari for Kishibashi's stuff.
Wow.
That was big. And I had to the first time I had a session with him, I was like, I just gotta let you know, like I like you are like a really big inspiration to me, and he was like, oh, that's really weird. Like no pressure.
He
But
said that
it's
was
cool.
weird.
It was just like it's a weird way, and it is weird. It's a weird way to start off a session with a person that you've never met before.
Yeah,
But
right.
we're cool now. It's fine. But outside of that, there was this band from West Virginia called Ona that came down to record with Drew, and
Oh,
it was the first it was the first session that I got to play violin on, and I like my schedule lined up with them so that I was there pretty much like every evening, like during the week at least. So I got to know them pretty well, and they were all really sweet, and like it just kind of it was one of those sessions where like it kind of like felt kind of warm all the time in the
yeah.
control room, and it yeah that was like a really cool. I think they Drew told me they might be coming back sometime in the next
Oma.
like 6 months, so I'm gonna definitely come back and kind of peek
Yeah,
my head in.
that's cool. How do you spell that band name? Do you know?
Ona, it's Ona.
Easy enough. From West Virginia. I've never
Yeah,
heard
they're
of a
from
band from West Virginia.
Huntington. Yeah, I know. I don't know anyone else from there too.
That's cool. Do you feel like the bands that you record, do they like bring a lot of the energy, like good or bad, into the room?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like it's both of the band and the way that the producer runs the session. Like, and that's one thing that I really learned
Mm,
from Drew, and I'm so glad he was like the first experience I got to see that with was that like if you are calm, then like everything else is going to be calm too, probably.
yeah, right. That's cool. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can really set the tone. I've definitely, from the times I've been in different studios, felt like that was kind of set. The expectation like was set by the producer and like engineer, like people at the studio.
definitely.
If we felt like welcome and like we could just have a good time.
Yeah,
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean? Did you record Mortal in Athens at the studio you're working at?
No, that one I kind of had a different setup like at my job at Chase Park, and that's part of why I'm able to record at Maze versus at Chase Park, since Chase is kind of more commercial most of the time.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
studio's booked, and like at Maze, it was kind of more like if no one's there, then I'm literally the only one there, pretty much. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and if I don't have a session booked, like obviously my first thing is to like try to book sessions, basically.
Right.
But if I have an off day, then why not like practice, you know?
Yeah. Totally. That's cool. Well, I'm really excited to hear your new song,
Thank
and I
you.
hope that you continue to work on more and more new stuff. I would love to hear whatever this like project is you're working on. Although you say you don't know when it will be ready. Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
thanks.
I'm excited to hear it. I think that you're a very talented artist, and it's just been cool to get to know you a little bit and talk to you today, and also just like follow you and just like see what you do. I think it's really cool. I think your
Right
music is
back
just
at you.
really particularly just like special and unique as soon as I heard it, and it, like
Well,
something that genuinely like we listened to on tour and just like really enjoyed.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
well, too sick.
after meeting you, I put it on in the van just like when traveling to the next city, you know.
Well,
Always looking
sick.
for new stuff
Okay,
to listen to, and it
cool.
is really good. Yeah, for real. I hope you know that. You should. I definitely want to encourage you to keep doing it if you need encouragement on it. So
Well, I can always take more encouragement. Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate
for
it.
sure. For people listening who don't know you, um, I guess the best way to keep in touch is through. I mean, you can find Annie Leeth uh, streaming anywhere. You're on
Yeah.
Instagram at Annie.amiokay.
Yes.
Love that name.
You should eventually.
I like that you keep that name, even though you're like now that you're like diving into your artistry career.
It's just kind of like, I mean, Billie Eilish had "Where Are the Avocados" until she got a Grammy, pretty much. So,
Did she really?
yeah.
Dude, she also no, it was Phoebe Bridgers. Is Phoebe Bridgers' Twitter name Millennial Falcon?
Yes.
We were like
Can confirm.
that was my keys player was like trying to start a project called that, and then he was just devastated. I love that. It's fun to be yourself, and social media is kind of goofy no matter what. So
Yeah, what are you gonna do? It feels worse sometimes when you try to like make it look like a billboard or something. Like
yeah, exactly. Yes, totally. I don't, and you feel like a lot of artists try to do that, but then we don't. And then you realize people actually don't even want that. You're trying so hard to like market yourself, and then you're like, wait, people don't even care like about
yeah,
that or like want that even. You know what I
totally.
mean?
There's
Um,
this one punk band that's like kind of Athens and Atlanta called Nihilist Cheerleader that I
yeah, I love
like.
that
Yeah,
band.
that Instagram account is my favorite because it's just like all of this like random shit constantly. I think it's like actually just one of the band members like account, and but yeah, that
They were
type
one
of
of the
thing is
first
good.
bands I like had heard of when I was like trying to get introduced to Athens, and
Oh
they
really?
like someone was just like check out this band, and I was just like, dang, this is so good.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't,
they're good.
I've never gotten a chance to play with them, but I think they're cool from
In
afar.
due time.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to Nihilist Cheerleader. Anywhere else? I guess people should also find you on YouTube. I don't know if you have anything currently, but you said you're going to be, or I don't know what account it's going to be on, but you're going to be posting that session that y'all recorded
Yeah,
in the
I mean that'll
studio.
I'll probably put that that'll definitely be on my Instagram at least, like if not like like Facebook too. I'm so bad with like my Facebook page. It's like what do I do with you? But
Yeah. Right.
everything else is fine. But
Well, take encouragement in the fact that most of that stuff probably doesn't even matter.
right.
And you make
There
great
we
music, and I think that's gonna take you as far as you want it to. So I'm
Well,
rooting for
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking time to come talk to me today.
Of course, thanks for
And
asking me.
yeah, no problem. It's really my pleasure. I'll be keeping in touch, and can't wait to hear your new song.
Cool.
You're
All
awesome.
right. You're awesome.
Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Yeah.
Bye.